How's it going, humans? And welcome back to HewTube. At the end of last episode, I left you kind of hanging around with a promise of problems. And in this episode, I'm going to deliver on that promise. Shit!
Language!
We're going to overcome these problems. We're going to get this card holder done.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
So in order to start having problems, we need to make something that's going to cause us problems, which is going to be this base. So if you remember from the first episode in this series, I was trying to make this mallet card holder in a day. This is going to be a lot of work for a day. And at this point, it is late afternoon, and I'm still rushing to meet that arbitrary deadline, which means I'm not really thinking about designing this base properly. It means I'm trying to cut corners, I'm trying to rush, I'm trying just to make it work. Uh-oh. Shit!
Steve, you said a bad language word.
And all in all, after a few hours, this does work. It doesn't work the best, but it works enough to put some finish on and call it done. But we'll come back to the problematic base later, as we have some mallet problems to deal with first. So it's the next day, it's like noon, and things have just gone from bad to worse. I put a couple coats of finish on this, but it's still tacky. Like, it's been 5 hours, and this finish just isn't drying fast enough. I also had this piece of wood like this, holding this open, and I just dropped it, and it just put a nice dent in there. So, not too happy with how this is going, so I'm going to stop rushing. We're just going to take some time, maybe finish this tonight, tomorrow, and we'll bring it up there later. It was maybe silly to try and push so hard to get this done in a day, but it'll be okay. We'll make it better, and then we'll drop it off. Stupid finish. So with that arbitrary deadline now out of the way, it's time to talk about the finish and what went wrong. Now, as you remember, I'm using a wipe-on polyurethane for this, which should dry in 4 hours and allow for a recoat. But it's been about 12 hours now, and the finish is still tacky. The handle is sticky, and when you sand it, the finish just rolls off like you're erasing pencil. It's so weird. So last night I sanded the entire thing. Took like an hour and just sanded all of that sticky finish off. And I just put on a super light coat. And it actually seems to be doing a whole lot better this morning. I'm just gonna give it a quick sand and another super light coat, and we're just gonna build it up slow. Or so I thought. So I am frustrated. I really don't know what's going on with this finish, but I think it has to do with the African Padauk. It's still tacky. It's been 30 hours. So I'm sanding it all off. I'm going to sand this all the way back down to bare wood, and we're going to put on a different finish. So that's the only explanation that I have for this problem, is something with the finish was reacting with some of the natural oils perhaps from the Padauk and causing that finish not to cure. This is the first time that I tried using a wipe-on poly on African Padauk. So if you've had the same experience or something successful, then let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious as to why this happened. So now with the finish all taken off, I applied a few coats of Danish oil, and I finished it off with a spray-on Varathane, which worked like a dream. Should have done this in the first place. So now that we have the mallet all taken care of, it was time to work on this base problem. Dude, can you tell what the problem is? So to start off, I put a leather cord and a Norse rune bead onto the mallet, and then it was time to stare at it and make it bend to my will. But when that didn't work, it was time to break out the protractor to figure out the angles we needed to cut and make a new base. Can kind of put it in, it should stay. So we're gonna rock with this. Now with that figured out, I wanted to try one more time at making things bend to my will. And no, doesn't seem to be working. Guess we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. So we're going to cut this down so it can sit about here. And then it's gonna go this way. So it's gonna be off center. It hurts my brain a little bit, but I think aesthetically it'll look better. Then we can have stickers. We can have 3 rows. So we can have stickers and business cards just kind of sitting in here. Should be good. So now it was time to cue up the montage and get this base put into place. Now the keen-eyed viewers might have noticed a second ago there was 3 slots, and now there's 2. Yeah, I cut one off. It wasn't working for me, so I cut it off. I also cut it down on the left side just to make it a little bit nicer and just keep the flow working. So I added a chamfer all the way around, sanded and finished, and it was time to call this build done. So there we go, a mini Mjolnir to hold some business cards and stickers that gets to hang out near Odin. Now I just want to give one more shout out to Teika Hudson of Golden Griffin Tattoos, who let me make this thing and put it in her shop. Now as always, thanks for sticking around and checking out this build, and I hope you have a wonderful day.